We all know how important mindset is, but how do you actually shift your mindset so you start thinking about something else? Well, we're going to be talking about this today, but before we do, it's really important we talk about the two different parts of our mind because I think it's really important to differentiate the two different parts of our mind so that we're very clear on what we're talking about here today. So you have the conscious part of your mind. Now, your conscious part of your mind is your logical thinking part of your mind. It is a part of your mind that likes to determine if something's good or bad. It has a long-term thinking. It has your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, right? And this is the part of your mind that many people think they're using the majority of their day. What's interesting though is that about 90 to 95% of your daily thoughts and actions actually come from your subconscious part of your mind. And it's been proven through science. One of the people that I really like to follow who talks about the subconscious mind, his name is Dr. Bruce Lipton. So definitely recommend checking him out. But what you need to know about this part of your mind, the subconscious part of your mind, where the majority of your thoughts and your beliefs and your habits come from, well, this part of your mind is programmable. And the way it's programmable is it's programmable based on the data that it's receiving. So this part of your mind is actually scanning the environment constantly, 24/7. Even if you're sleeping, this part of your mind is still aware, still active, right? And this part of your mind is kind of like your last form of protection. It's like your primal part of your mind. So let's just say like something crazy happens and you're not able to logically think anymore. That your conscious part of your mind kind of shuts down. You go into flight or flight response mode. Your cortisol levels increase and your blood flows away from your brain down to your arms or your legs. So you can run, take a run and like and flight, or you can stand your ground and fight, right? And it's taking blood away from your conscious part of your mind and it leaves it within just your primal part of your mind, your conscious part of your mind, your subconscious part of your mind, sorry. And so your subconscious part of your mind is doing everything it can to protect you. The problem is your subconscious part of your mind is primal. It doesn't really understand the difference between good and bad. It's not a logical thinking part of your mind. So it doesn't actually restrict any information. It doesn't say, this can't come into my mind. It says, okay, let everything into my mind. How it determines what's safe and what it's going to be drawn to is by what's the most familiar, what's the most common thing within your environment. Now, this could be a good thing or a bad thing. If your environment and the people around you and the things people are saying, the things you're listening to are really good and have really positive messages, and everyone around you is healthy and is wealthy and is happy and is moving through life and is successful, then that's going to be awesome. You're going to mimic that. But if everything around you or the majority of the things around you are very negative, people are very negative, maybe people around you are struggling with wealth, they're not very healthy, they're getting very sick often, then your mind is likely going to mimic that, and you have a lot of negativity that comes out of them, right? So why this is important is because a lot of people think that they're consciously have that mindset, like, oh, this is my mindset and I just have to consciously shift it. But that's not necessarily the way it works, right? Your mind, your subconscious mind, is drawn to whatever it's drawn to, and those automatic negative thoughts are coming up for a reason. That your specific negative mindset is happening for a reason because there's been programming there to support it, right? It's just kind of like an NPC from a video game, right? NPCs from video games, the game developers put all the programming, all the code into them so they do very specific actions, and anything beyond those actions they shouldn't be doing unless they're bugged out, right? Same thing is the way kind of our mind works is our mind's only be operating based off what's the programming in the code that the programmers have put into our mind, right? So we change the program within our mind. That's actually how we change our mindset, and that's when you stop getting like those automatic negative thoughts come into your mind, right? You start to make that more positive. So how do you actually do that? Well, you first need to. The first most important step is to look at what ways are you influencing yourself towards your worst life or towards that negative mindset. Look at like the songs you listen to, the movies, the people you hang out with, the things you look at on social media, all those things, maybe the things that you tell yourself, the thoughts that come through your head and you tell yourself you're not good enough or you're bad or whatever. Those things are all reinforcing that. So we can kind of think of it as there's a pathway from one brain neuron to another brain neuron in your brain. And every time you think about something, that pathway gets reinforced, right? And why that's important is that, well, nature will always go down the path of least resistance. So a very reinforced brain pathway is where your brain is gonna naturally default to, right? Because it's the safest option for your mind, the most familiar option as well. And so the idea is that you want to start to cut out those negative influences so that stops getting reinforced, and start to put up some resistance towards it. Put it up and open up a new pathway. So you start to cut out those negative things out of your life. And obviously, you're not going to be able to cut out everything that's negative because there's a lot of things in our environment, right? Like when you're driving down the road, there's billboards, there's people that you're not going to be able to get away from. Maybe you work with someone you dislike, or there could be multiple different reasons why you may not be able to distance yourself from certain things. But the majority of things that you can do in your life, songs and music and all those things the things that you're reading and the things that you're watching and the things you're listening to, those things all have a really big play. And if you start to look at those things and address those things and start to change those negative things to positive things, that's how you can start to reprogram your mind and essentially open up a new pathway from one brain neuron to another brain neuron. It's kind of like the idea behind, like, you have like a river going down a certain path, right? And if you want to stop the flow of that water, you got to build like a barricade, a dam, which is essentially what you're doing is you're cutting out the negative influences. You're kind of building a barrier there. And then you open up a new pathway for the water to flow. Maybe you want to direct it to like an area to create a dam or something. So you create, you open up some ground and the water starts flowing down a new pathway. Well, that's the new pathway your mind's going to keep going down unless resistance gets put there. So that's what was essentially what we want to do, is we want to set your mind down a new path. So one of the ways you can do this beyond just watching something or listening to something is writing things around your house. So on my whiteboard here, I have "I am enough." Now this is there for a very specific reason, because every time your mind sees it, it gets reprogrammed. It gets a little closer to saying, hey, this is possibly my most familiar thing. This is what I can believe. And I found from working with people and with myself and just talking with family members that one of our biggest beliefs that's holding us back is that we're not enough, that we're not good enough to do this, we're not old enough. We always have some kind of reason why we're not good enough to do whatever it is, right? And it holds us back from doing what we deserve, or we don't even believe we deserve love, or we don't believe we deserve to be healthy or to be treated with respect because we've done something bad in our lives. But that's just a reminder that says you are enough how you are right now. Doesn't matter what you've done in your life. Doesn't matter where you are in life. You are enough. You are worthy enough right now. Right. And that's a little mental reminder. This book also I have here, I have it placed here for a very specific reason. It says eat, move, be healthy. Your mind sees this every time you watch one of my videos. If I have this little part up, and that's another reprogramming for your mind. Right. So you can do little things like that to start to reprogram your mind. And, we know, like, you can see this, like, when you're maybe you're like your own experience in school, right? When you needed to learn something, you did repetition, right? The more times you saw it, the more times that it became stuck in your mind. And then it was easier to think of next time, right? That's essentially what you're doing with a lot of these things, is you're changing what's repeated in your life. So right now, if you're having a lot of negative thoughts, it's likely that the repetition in your life is negativity. Maybe the people around you are negative, the songs, the movies, the social media accounts you're following are negative, right? All those things are building up on it. So you want to start to create resistance in that area and start to build a dam within your mind from that pathway and open a new pathway to where you want to go. That is how you can start to change your mindset. And I'm always here if you guys ever need a chat. I found in my life the best way to make changes in my life and to address my thinking and my mindset was to actually work with someone else, right? I read all the self-help books. I did a lot of different things, but nothing really clicked until I actually worked with someone else and spoke with someone else. So I'm always a big proponent of speaking to someone else and working with someone else. If you just want to just chat, no obligation to work with me or anything, we can just hop on a call. I do offer some free calls and we can just chat about what's going on in your life and kind of, some possible solutions for you.